Hi, it's Greg Day, Performance Sports Physiotherapist, and Cam Elliott, Performance Coach from Virtus Human Performance.
Hello.
Hello.
We were chatting earlier about the very important connection between arm drive and the opposite leg drive in running, particularly sprinting. We spoke about it during the course on Saturday, the mobility, stability, motor control for exercise performance course. We wanted to point it out to you here why the arm drive is so important for that opposite leg, and then show you a couple of key drills that we use to stimulate that. Here's the main reason. We'll get away from that graph for the moment. When you drive this right arm down, you get a tension across the anterior trunk. That tension occurs and it affects that opposite hip. Now we've got these ligaments across the front of the hip joint called the iliofemoral ligaments. As you pull back through here, those iliofemoral ligaments get tension, and as the leg goes back, you get internal rotation of the hip. Now that's extremely important because the glute max, which is getting shorter as the hip gets an extension, can't generate anywhere near as much force because it's getting shorter, and it's also going very fast. So one of the advantages of getting internal rotation is that you take the attachment point of glute max and you actually take it further away from its origin. So as it takes further away, you get lengthening at the same time as getting shortening, which means some relative maintenance of length. Now here's how we work that out. You've got a very fast swinging leg. Because it's a very fast swinging leg, it can't generate as much force, so it's low force. So as you get hip internal rotation in terminal stance, it mainly takes it away from a short glute max towards a slightly longer, which shifts it back to a slightly higher, and you get a slightly higher force through there. So the action of hip internal rotation is pivotal for maintaining force through the terminal stance and push-off phase. The arm drive generates that. So we have two drills to make sure you've got hip internal rotation with extension and that you make use with an arm drive, and we're going to take Cameron through that now. So, Cam, across the screen here, let's show us that quad stretch to internal rotation. So we do a walking drill where Cam now will step forward, he goes for his left leg, he takes hip extension and internal rotation, and we do this as a walking drill over about 10 to 15 metres. The distance itself is not the big concern. It's that he's going through and checking for symmetry between left and right side. Prior to Cam doing that, we would go to half kneeling and do a core activated hip extension drill, but we would add internal rotation, which means we take that foot out to there, and then Cam drives that knee forward. Here's the thing about the core activation. When Cam presses down on that front knee, he gets a very strong contraction across the front of that abdomen, and that means that his lumbar spine can't move, which means the only movement happening here is that hip. That gives him the mobility, which he now has to express as active mobility. So we get him to stand up again, and he does his active assisted hip extension with internal rotation as a walking drill. One of the progressions we do a little bit further on is to do a marching and then a skipping drill that makes use of the arm drive. Come on back this way, Cam. Now he's going to do a marching drill where that arm behaves like a hammer, and the cue is that the tibia is a nail. So when you do a marching drill, such as an A drill, your hammer smacks the nail into the ground, and that causes very, very fast velocity of hip extension. Because we've already expressed hip internal rotation, we get the benefit of that force couple and that ligament alignment to cause the glute max length tension relationship to benefit extra output. Show us a hammer to nail A drive, just a march, an A march. And moving forward at no heel strike, and pause. Of course that can be progressed to a skip and then the direct running drills or the bound. So that's the direct connection between arm drive and hip extension with internal rotation. It also places great importance on why we need to have a healthy diagonal sling of tissue across the thorax, and why you need to have rich sensory environment to detect what's happening in the thorax, the hip and the shoulder.
We'll be right back.